we've built a system that is promoting the environment for those beneficials to thrive.
Very true. Very cool. And Rick, what's the role of cover crops in your system
Oh, it's huge.
diversification?
It's huge. Again, I don't know why I did a lot of the things I did. There was a time in my journey here, Natalie, where I had a pad of paper and a pen beside my bed because I would wake up almost every night at 2:30 in the morning, almost every night on the dot at 2:30, and I had an idea. So somebody's pushing, these ideas on me. Well, I woke up one morning and and at 2:30, and the idea was, Rick, how come you're not out testing the the nutrients that are in the above ground material on your cover crops? And I'm like, huh? What? I never, okay. So I start thinking, what am I going to do? So I start making a couple phone calls. Well, my favorite lab is Lance Gunderson in Regen Ag Lab in Nebraska. And Lance said, well, yeah, Rick, if you would cut a sample of your above ground material and ship it to me, I will run what's called a feed grade analysis, and it will then send back to you all of the nutrient load that's in there. Hey, we're getting somewhere. So we made a PVC, a 3/4 inch PVC, the water line, the white water line stuff. We made a 2 foot by 2 foot square and just created this because we take this test all the time. So you walk out in your field that has cover crop growing and you set it down in the field and you clip everything off that's inside of that square. You put it in a bag and you overnight it to Lance, and he is then going to send you back the analysis of what is in that above ground material. And then the reason why you're doing a 2 foot by 2 foot square is so then you can relate it back to a per acre basis. Okay. Now, finally getting to your answer. This will blow your mind. You need to go. I'm sure if your audience will Google me and look for some of these slides, but the power that cereal rye has is unreal. At 28-inch tall rye, that cereal rye has 150 pounds of nitrogen in that above ground material in the plant. Okay, it's got 260 pounds of potash, 0060. It's got 300 and some pounds of P2O5. I mean, it's just nuts of what we are regenerating. This is my definition of regenerative right here. We are planting these cover crops in a conservation stewardship mindset, and we are regenerating or recycling the nutrients that are deep within the profile. I mean, right here where I'm sitting in Midwest America, there are thousands of pounds of these nutrients available. Okay, so now here comes a very important principle, context. Where are you in the world? I saw that you've got a gentleman on from Texas. Texas may not be able to take as many inputs away as we have in the Midwest because of the inherent soil material. Okay. I don't know. I need to go and find out for myself. But my point here is not everybody is going to be able to take everything away like we have. That's why I I said it once and I'm going to say it again. I do not promote anyone to farm like we do, but please get on the journey and take it as far as you think you can in your context. All right.
So be it.
So now, Natalie, when I look, and again, data is power. I mean, this is power. So now I'm looking at all these results and I'm saying to myself, this is nuts. Why are we ever applying any more fertilizer on this farm? So, would you like for me to go through my mechanism on how I did this?
I would love that.
Okay. All right. So here's what we did. I I went to my agronomist and I said, "Look, I'm not trying to run you out of a job, but this is what I want you to do. I want to pick these two fields right here, whatever we call our fields the last name of the previous owner and however many acres it is. So the Smith 120 and the Johnson 300. Okay. I want to take these two fields and I want to take your recommendation and I want to cut it in half. And then we're going to baseline this farm. So we're going to go out and we're going to take a Haney test and we're going to take a Solvita, a CO2 burst, and PLFA, and we're going to do all of this and we're going to baseline these farms so that I know where we are before we start taking any inputs away. So the first year out of the gate, we take half the inputs away from those acres. We run the tests, plant the crop, harvest the crop, do everything. We run those tests again. Natalie, nothing changed. We took a full crop off these fields and no nutrient loads changed whatsoever. So we do it again. That same two fields, half the recommendation, did it again. Year two, at the end of the harvest, stuff was actually turning up. The available P2O5 was turning up, available potash turning up. All of these things were starting to get stronger. So I'm like, okay, we're going to now take those two fields and they are done with inputs. We're now going to pull 500 acres in, and I'm going to do this for 2 more years on these 500 acres. And if we get the same results, I'm done. That's what we did. 500 acres in, first year, nothing changed. Second year actually started to turn up. So now the first two fields are in year 4. No changes to fertility, none. So we're not being reckless here. I've still maintained our same approach. We're testing. So now for 2025, we are going to roll into year 11 of no synthetic inputs. And that's what I'm the most proud of, because we are trying to show the world that you can do this. Now, do we have a yield drag? You better believe it. We have a yield drag, and I'm very open about this. When we first went organic and we then started down this severe reduction of inputs, if not total elimination, we dropped our yields 35% from the way we were doing it before. Okay, that's okay because we have no input costs and we're getting a higher price point for our crop to begin with. So I'm okay with a 35% reduction in yield. I just want people to understand this because this isn't for everybody. If you have to have a field that is perfectly clean and not a weed out there, you're not going to like the way I farm. If you are the type of farmer that needs to drive for yield and be the yield king of your county, you're not going to like the way I farm either. But there's a lot of people in between that are wanting to understand, how can we start this journey?